the time to introduce a person that took the time to work and try to organize this event to happen. This is Sister Susan and Sister Naomi. They are right here to my side here. Susan, you want to introduce yourself? What you do?
Susan Kopelman and Naomi Finkelstein, we both organized with Stop Veolia Seattle and Disability Liberation Front. And I've known Steve, what's up?
Mike.
Is it Mike? Hello, is that better?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Just that, so Stop Veolia Seattle is organizing locally. Veolia, the same company that was actively trying to bust USW 8751, is a corporation that's been around since the beginning of French colonization. Actually, Veolia's first contracts were providing water and transportation to the French colonies. And we see a direct continuation today with they're still providing water and transportation as part of this privatization neoliberal agenda. We see this direct continuation between slavery and colonization and privatization and capitalism today. Locally, Veolia, when they came in, they busted the union. So from 2008, when Veolia came in, there was no more union for the 75% of the paratransit contract that Veolia had. And actually, just last month, the Veolia drivers got their contract, and a lot of people are crediting it to Stop Veolia Seattle's relationship with the Boston school bus drivers.
All right.
So already we're seeing the power in making these connections. And also we're seeing that both in Boston and in Seattle and in other places, Veolia, Transdev, and others are trying to divide our coalitions because we're in solidarity with Palestine. But it was actually through our Palestine Solidarity Connection that is how I met Steve and the drivers. They put out a call asking for Palestine Solidarity activists to show up to a rally. And I happened to be in Boston visiting my sister and nephew and was able to come on over. But there's a lot of people who don't want us to be making these connections. It's really important that regardless of what anyone thinks about what's happening in Palestine and the Israeli apartheid colonial project, but whatever you think about it, just that we need to be strong and not allow Palestine solidarity to divide our community labor coalitions. Right? And so, we're really excited as we're building a united front, and just, I think one of the most powerful things that the Boston school bus drivers are good at is not being divided. And how can we in Seattle, King County, allow ourselves not to be divided by interests that are trying to divide us and make us weaker?
I'm taking the time to introduce a person that took the time to work and try to organize this event to happen. This is Sister Susan and Sister Naomi. They are right here to my side here. Susan, you want to introduce yourself? What you do?
Susan Kopelman and Naomi Finkelstein, we both organized with Stop Veolia Seattle and Disability Liberation Front. And I've known Steve, what's up?
Mike.
Is it Mike? Hello, is that better?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So Stop Veolia Seattle is organizing locally. Veolia, the same company that was actively trying to bust USW 8751, is a corporation that's been around since the beginning of French colonization. Actually, Veolia's first contracts were providing water and transportation to the French colonies. And we see a direct continuation today with they're still providing water and transportation as part of this privatization neoliberal agenda. We see this direct continuation between slavery and colonization and privatization and capitalism today. there was no more union for the 75% of the paratransit contract that Veolia had. And actually, just last month, the Veolia drivers got their contract, and a lot of people are crediting it to stop Veolia Seattle's relationship with the Boston school bus drivers.
All right.
So already we're seeing the power in making these connections. And also we're seeing that both in Boston and in Seattle and in other places, Veolia, Transdev, and others are trying to divide our coalitions because we're in solidarity with Palestine. But it was actually through our Palestine Solidarity Connection that's how I met Steve and the drivers. They put out a call asking for Palestine Solidarity activists to show up to a rally. And I happened to be in Boston visiting my sister and nephew and was able to come on over. But there's a lot of people who don't want us to be making these connections. And it's really important that regardless of what anyone thinks about what's happening in Palestine and the Israeli apartheid colonial project, but whatever you think about it, just that we need to be strong and not allow Palestine solidarity to divide our community labor coalitions, right? And so, yeah, we're really excited as we're building a united front, and just, I think one of the most powerful things that the Boston school bus drivers are good at is not being divided. And how can we in Seattle, King County, allow ourselves not to be divided by interests that are trying to divide us and make us weaker? Here.
Thanks, Susan. My name is Naomi Finkelstein, and I'm really delighted to see you all here on a semi-beautiful day in Seattle. This counts as a good day in Seattle. And I'm here because for a few reasons. One is I think we need to tell stories of victory. There's a lot of stories out there right now of dread and doom, and that's true. But there's also truth in the fact that we win. And we don't tell ourselves that story enough because there's a lot of blocks to letting those kinds of stories out. And so I'm here to listen to stories of a win and get what I can from it so that I can use it in my own organizing. I'm a member of the Disability Liberation Front, and the reason we're here is to be in solidarity with bus drivers, which sounds weird. Why would people who you think maybe wouldn't be in solidarity with bus drivers who pass us by, who are mean to us, who don't really understand what consent means, like don't touch my wheelchair means don't touch my wheelchair, because it's part of me. Why would we be in solidarity with workers like that? And the answer is, for me, anyway, if you don't give people enough time to finish their route, and every wheelchair that's on it makes you go longer, and then you get in trouble for not finishing your route, there's a problem there. You're setting worker against worker. And we have to be careful when workers are being set against workers and work together against, who's the real problem, right? And the problem really is privatization, neoliberal agendas, and, bosses being bastards, which is nothing new. What do we do then? We, instead of telling the Disability Liberation Front, instead of saying the transit union has to have the same agenda as we do, or the same diversity of tactics that we do, said, let's not fight. And let the transit workers union have their tactics and their agenda. We'll have our tactics and our agenda, and work in solidarity with each other. Because I think we need to learn to stop fighting on the left, stop being divided on the left. It's a very important time to do that. I have to say that the buses and access was so bad that I started to refuse to go on any of them. And I'm a lifelong transit union user. I'm from New York. And but I couldn't stand it anymore. I was having anxiety attacks, waiting for And that's like sort of the least access we can ask for. You know, that's the sort of bottom line there. Don't have anxiety attacks before we get on buses. Okay, let us get on the buses. You know, that would be another. Okay, so I appreciate you all being here, and thanks very much.
I want to take a moment to introduce a sister that traveled all the way from the East Coast to come share a story with us. A story of facts, a story of solidarity, and a story of victory. So without further delay, I want to introduce Sister Georgia Scott. Georgia Scott is the first African American woman treasurer of the union. She was first a bus monitor and then a bus driver for 20 years. In 1965, when Scott was only 9 years old, she participated in the historic Bloody Sunday march for voting rights over the Edmund Peters Bridge in Selma, Alabama, where she was born. So, Mr. Georgia, let's give her a welcome applause.
Good evening, brothers and sisters. My name is Georgia Scott. I'm a member of Team Solidarity, school bus driver, shop steward, and first African American woman treasurer of 8751. I'm going to basically just tell you a little bit about the tragedies that we are going through, and in hopes that someone here will take it out to the street so that others can know exactly what big corporations do, what they intend to do, and they don't have a problem doing that. Well, Veolia, I don't know how much you guys have heard, but we do have a website to give some detailed information on Veolia. Veolia Transdev came into Boston in 2013. We're a very small union, local, about 1,000 drivers. Veolia came in when Mayor Menino was in office. Menino brought him in. Veolia was not the lowest bidder, and normally that's the way it goes. Veolia was about number 3, yet the contract was given to Veolia. My belief is that it was given to Veolia because Veolia has a reputation of union busting. So they came in, the first thing that they asked of the drivers was to do new hire applications. We refuse to do new hire applications because we are not new hires. Our contract does not state anywhere that we were new hires, but Veolia was intended to do what it wanted to do, but it had not taken a look at the drivers themselves. We are small, but we are powerful. We will fight for what we believe in. So we refused. Veolia didn't like that. It did little dances, little jump, whatever. The next step was to suspend our drivers on what they said was a wildcat strike, never a wildcat strike. Veolia came in and took away our DVCRs, and that's the records of being able to calculate your hours and your pay. Well, they took away all that. That's also in our contract book. Therefore, on a weekly basis, a daily basis, they was taking anywhere from 30 minutes, and I go up as high as 2 hours in pay from our drivers. This went on, and we filed grievances, we talked, whatever. Veolia paid no attention. Well, the morning that they accused us of having a wildcat strike, what we asked of Veolia was that they have a sit-down meeting with our union, our executive board. We have that. That's what it does. That's what it's for. Veolia refused. However, on the envelope that morning, There were the city of Boston. There were the Veolia people. Normally those people don't start work until 9 o'clock. Our buses, some of our buses rolled out at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, so why were they there? They knew something was going on. Well, they refused to meet with us. They were not going to meet with us because they was determined that they were going to keep our money. One of our city councilors, his name is Charles Fianci, heard about it. He's been with us for many, many, many years. He heard what was going on, came out to the yard, and along with some of our executive board members, went over to speak with Veolia. Veolia threatened him with the police, and they didn't get the police. They threatened to throw him out, and that's what they did. The police threw him out of the yard. This is our city council. So again, it tells you what the Veolia and these big corporations are capable of, what they intend to do, and if you don't stop them, they will do it. Well, we went back. Veolia at this time locked the gates because the intent was to have the people, the parents, believe that we had stranded their children. Wasn't the case. I'm a grandmother of 9 children, grandchildren, and 3 children that rode those buses, and I still have 1 or 2 that ride buses. My job is sacred to me, and my grandchildren are definitely sacred to me. So the intent again was to have the people believe that those old bus drivers stranded these children in the freezing cold. Yet, the Patriots game, they took our buses and they picked up Patriots and they dropped them off at the game. But we didn't have buses, you know. So we couldn't get back in the yard. The words out, Boston Globe, Boston Herald, all those bus drivers, all negative. We were rabble rousers. We was just bad people. Well, that didn't work. We got out there, we protested to do what we needed to do to stop it. The next step was to suspend our 4 leaders. There was 1 leader from each of our 4 yards. Mr. Kirschbaum here is a 42-year veteran. He definitely wasn't going to give you higher application. There were Gary Murchison. Mr. Kirschbaum was our chairperson at the time. Gary Murchison was a 3-time president of our union. All right? Then you had Andre Francois, which was about to become the president of the union. You have Steve Gillis, our financial secretary, damn good at his job. These are the 4 highest ranking of our union, and 1 in each yard. They took those 4, actually it was 5, but 1 thing that come back ASAP. But those 4 leaders, they refused to let them come back. The next step was termination, and I am skipping a lot of stuff that took place because we had 4 other people here to speak. It is too much to tell you all. So the next step was termination for these 4 guys, which meant you chop off the head, the body is going to fall. That didn't happen. We wasn't going to let it happen. Went on. The next step was Mr. Kirschbaum. They had him in court on trumped up charges. Trumped up, I know it was trumped up. I was there. Again, they did not read our contract because it was given to them deliberately to bust our union. The thing was, they weren't supposed to be on the property. This is what they used because they were terminated. Mr. Kirschbaum supposedly had thrown a table and hit one of the management people. Did all types of damage in the driver's room. This is our driver's room. This is something that was fought for. We went to court, I believe, about 9 months. About 9 months. We was there. They They were pushing the dates back, they were doing all kind of hoping that we would give up, the members would give up and leave these four guys and Mr. Kirschbaum, by themselves, but we didn't. Every court day, we filled that courthouse with about 200, 300, maybe 400 of our members. We literally took over Roxbury District Court. We rallied in their lobbies. We rallied on the outside. We even had a little music going up in there. They didn't like it, but they had no choice because we came out in numbers. These four guys worked tirelessly, and still are today, without pay for about 28 months. That's a little over 2 years, with no pay. But I tell you what, they worked. They didn't give up, and we didn't give up. The company stated, "Oh, we'll never work with you guys. You'll never be back." But I think we all know they lied. They lied. That's what they wanted. How did they survive? People like you. There was websites set up. People donated. We took a vote to donate to our drivers, our poor drivers, to make sure that their children that might have been in college, their rent, their mortgage, whatever, that had to be paid, was paid. This is what we did, and it means all of us. Workers' World was a big help. We won that battle. Well, in court, when the verdict came down, it was a not guilty, and it didn't even take, people say it took 10 minutes. It didn't take 10 minutes. It only took about 8 or 9. The young lady that they had coached into making these charges, what happened with her was, when one of the lawyers stated to the judge, Your Honor, Ms. Griffin and Mr. Maynard need an attorney, a criminal attorney. Well, that's the day that you saw her in a corner by herself. Veolia and Mr. Maynard and the rest of Veolia over here together. This young lady was left standing. There was many days, I think I told one of my comrades that I wanted to talk to this young lady because I knew she was setting herself up. Well, they terminated her employment. They left her in court. If we wanted to, we could have filed a criminal charge, but we knew that they were using her. Nobody bothered. Well, we won that case. They came with, all types of different stuff, as soon as that was over, the international stepped in, and the international had really turned its back on us. And I'm saying this to say that the battles have to be fought by us. Because even the international wants to be paid. It's about money. And this is something that I had to learn. Because I felt that if I'm giving you 60% of my income, when I call you, you're supposed to be there. Well, they wasn't. Thank God we had 4 strong leaders that knew how to fight this and not listen to me because I felt we should take it to court, or we should make it do this, or we should make it do that. It didn't happen that way. Once Mr. Kirschbaum's charges was dropped, the representative that had worked with us for all these years, and they got rid of what he was out, and they put somebody else in. Once Mr. Kirschbaum won his case, our old representative was brought back. The same day, we got a call. So, and I'm going to stop because of my other members need to speak too. But I'm saying all of this because we, the people, control what happens here in this country and around the globe. And believe me, it's happening all over the world. The same thing. There are Veolias everywhere. So we, the people, have the power because if it wasn't for us and our power, our strength, we would be busted. These people, our retirees, our people that got hurt in the job, they can't canceling their insurance. So though we won big victories, this company is coming back every day with something new. And it's not just them, their contract is with our government. So we're not only fighting Veolia, we're fighting the city of Boston, our government, the people that we pay to do the job of the people. So we really need to think how we're going to strategize and work together as a people. Disabilities, we've always worked with people with disabilities. Some of our people, our most loyal, are disabled people. You know? So I'd like to just thank you guys for listening to me, and I would like to think that we're going to take this word out there. And something else I heard, my co-worker here and myself was talking, where are the young people? Where are the young people? And then a few other people asked me, where are the young people? Well, I said the young people are here. They're not in this room with us, but they're out there on the street doing the jobs that they need to be doing. So what we need to do is try and incorporate with them, see what they're doing, and maybe give them some advice or wherever we can fit in to support these young people, because they're doing the job that we should be doing. Thank you.
Okay, brothers and sisters, so it is a fact that we have to take the blind off our eye and acknowledge that together we can make things happen. We got to be unified, we got to be strong, because we fight the same corporation, the same CEO, the same people that's trying to keep working class people, trying to keep black people, trying to keep low income people, workers into a struggle where we cannot win unless we come together and fight. And we cannot be victorious unless we fight, because they're not going to hand anything to us, nothing. So I want to take this moment also to introduce the next speaker, Noah Braggs. I hope I'm saying it right. Noah Braggs was born in Mobile, Alabama. He was a school bus monitor for 10 years. Unlike Georgia, was able to become a bus driver because of unions like USW Local 8751. Extraordinary contract language provided special priority upgrade training and absolute preference in hiring. The local fought won this language early in contract negotiations. As a remedy for the company's past history of racism and sexism, Noah, as a shop steward and leader in many of the contract committee and as a lead organizer of Team Solidarity, Noah is very active organizing in the community. So let's take this moment and do a choice, because brothers and sisters, we have to reach out to our community, we have to reach out to our churches. This fight is not just only on the floor of labor, but it has to be on the floor of the community. So we have to make sure we reach out and come together. That's the only way we're going to win. There's no reason to invent the history. It's already a blueprint. It's happened already, and it's going to happen. We have a way already. We just got to go back to that blueprint and go to fight. So no further delay, let's make Sister Noah come.
Good evening, everyone. It is truly a pleasure to be here today. Everyone is wondering, how did those Boston school bus driver win that battle with this big corporation, Veolia, which has cornered the globe. I'm going to tell you how we won, how I feel we won. We won with our boots in the streets, marching, protesting, collecting all our allies that we would have, our officials that knew that this was a frame of charge, and most of all, the community, because we are predominantly a black school bus driver, and we work basically in the black community, picking up the children of Boston, and that's our job to pick the children up and bring them home as safely as possible. October the 8th, I want to just, because you're going to get the same thing, but it's all about victory. So I feel to gain a victory, we have to be united. We have to be united, and we have to have the people power. Like you're going to hear constantly, we cannot do it by ourselves, and we did not. On October the 8th, our leaders, I want to, all of us, bus drivers, we was all framed up because we all suffered. We suffered along with our leaders because we knew without our leaders that this corporation would attempt to do anything possible to bring us back to slavery as possible. Those are the things that they did attempt to do to us. They took away our pay sneakily that we couldn't, like as if you couldn't see it in your paycheck, we knew this. They took away a lot of health insurance from our members and also from their spouses. And on our job, we have a high rate because we work around diesel. We have a high rate of deaths around in our bus system. People have died on this job, and we knew that we was not going to allow this corporation, Veolia, to come in and take the livelihood away from our people. And this is what we were not going to allow. It is October the 8th, which to me is very historical. I came into my bus yard, and at that bus yard, Steve Kirschbaum worked at that bus yard. Also, Tutu, the three of us worked in that bus yard. I noticed that it was extremely dark, so therefore the bus lights wasn't on in that yard. So I walked up to Steve and I said, "Wait, what's going on here? What's going on? You know?" So he says, "Just go get your clipboard, and as soon as we get a meeting from the company, we will be leaving out to go pick the children up." So that's what I did. I went and got my board and continued on to get the rest of the information that was transpiring. We waited for a while. Actually, the president that we had at that particular time was also at our yard. And we noticed there was a lot of officials that do not be around the bus company at all that was also there. So we started getting very suspicious. And we knew we were set up for the okie doke. And that's what happened. So now at this time, you know, we still demanding our union, our president, he's there at this particular time. All of a sudden, he disappears. International comes in with them. Apparently, they're down at the city farm, the junction on us, that we done did a wildcat strike, an illegal wildcat strike. Now we're left standing by ourselves. But thank God, the 4 leaders was out of the 4 yards to know what to do because we would have messed up. Okay, so next thing you know, we was ordered, you got the helicopters, police helicopters, you have polices all over the place. Now we are demanding to get off the property because we are now trespassing. At this point in time, they put us out, we left, but we stayed close by the yard to try to figure out what was going on. And all of a sudden, they put a dog chain on the locks. Treated us like the most criminals that could ever be. And one thing I would like to say, they knew we wasn't criminals because we are Boston school bus drivers and we get quarried every year. So they knew we was not criminals. Actually, they were the criminals trying to do all kind of things to us. October the 8th this year, so we're waiting, figuring out what's going on. It was a long battle, and I will tell you all, it's still a battle that we are continuing to fight this day with this giant corporation called Veolia, Transdev, whatever, that's cornering the market of transportation all over the place. And if you all can stop them the same way we are trying, we're doing our best, and we are stopping them on a lot of things. So now we're sitting, we're waiting, we're protesting, we're pulling all our allies together, we're pulling all our community leaders, all the parents, and everything together to fight to get our drivers back. Veolia job was, they thought they was going to starve our drivers out. So, you know, and this is where I have so much respect for them because 2.5 years plus, neither one of them went out and took another job, nor did they abandon us, so I got to give them that. And like my sister said, thank God for a lot of organizations that did collect, even though we would collect on our paycheck to try to support them, and a lot of people here in their different organizations, they also did the same thing. But to make a long story short, we won that victory, but we won it with unity and power in the streets, with the community. And if anybody's coming up against a big corporation that's trying to take your livelihood, just to bring you down back into a slavery, racism position, the answer is hell to the no. Put your foot to the ground. Stand strong. You pick up with all your allies, and it can be, even though they are just multi-million-dollar, and their job is to bring the working class down. But our parents don't work, and I'm sure we're not here to let nobody take anything from us while we can breathe. So our job is to fight, to keep on fighting, and we did get our leaders back. And we are happy. They got some payback. And now we are stomping the hell out of Veolia, and they don't like it at all. So this is what we will continue to do as union members. And I want to thank you all for listening to me, because you're going to hear more as we go along down this side. Enjoy.
Anytime workers stand up for the right, they always say, call you criminal, call you all kind of names. But we know who's the real criminal, right? Who's the real criminal? Who's the real criminal? Who is the real criminal? So at this time, I want to bring Brother Clive, yeah, man. Tutu Jermaine under leadership of team leader, local recording secretary and Boston Fanny Lavala's leader. The leadership has initiated an extremely popular and exciting Stewart School held in the bus yard with the state purpose of training an army of new team solidarity leaders, sharpening the skills of the veteran leaders. The session also raised political campaign, concrete solidarity with the rising strike and present lesson from local 87, 51, 40 plus years of history. So brothers, what we're saying that we have to get educated, strap up our boots, and organize and go to war. So that's no further delay, but class to the thing.
Thank you, brothers and sisters. That's a great pleasure to come down here on the West Coast tour, to come to Iota and to bring the story of the Union, what happened in Boston. I would like to start by saying Veolia is a giant company, but I have to say is from France, which is a power way back, colonial power, want to put all the people, working class people, enslaved at that time. You will not want to do the same thing when it comes to Boston. We stopped it. We stopped it anyway. I remember when Veolia came in April, the first thing he was trying to do is, like my sister just said, just to get everybody a new application to become new employees. We not accept that. We stood, we fought, and we won that. We stop that not happening. And we continue to, along with all disturbance of Veolia, in terms of try to dismantle our union. We got multiple meetings with them. And on June 18, they finally signed an agreement to respect all conditions, meaning our book, our little book, that book. They have to respect that book with everything inside. Everything. But that's sad to say this because Veolia had some collaboration to the prior leadership at that time, the president. But we really collaborated with that time, and Veolia did not respect these people you see I just showed you. Unity. Not my sister just said, you need to have unity to win. But when you have a group of people who really don't want to bring unity together to win the battle, they want to do their own thing, you're not going to win the battle. You're not going to win. No way you can win while you separate. You need to come together to win. That's how we win that battle with Veolia on December 18th. Finally, we should come up with June 30th, 2013. Our contract was going to expire. That's been we need a new contract. By July 1st, 2013, we're not going to have a contract. But because of the way our contract is written, we have 1 year we can negotiate and still have this everything we had along while we negotiate our new contract. But we need to set a team for the negotiation. We need to have elections. That's the way we do things. We always do things democratically. People need to vote for the people they want to be represented. Then, finally, we can have an election for 17 members who want to be at the negotiation table. Finally, we have an election for only 8 members. We won. We swept that election. We won all positions. That's our victory started right there. And for the leadership, the other leadership I just talked about earlier, who was collaborating with Veolia. That's why I said it's sad to say this, but it happened. But we have to deal with that. But now, because there need 17 members to represent the members at the negotiating table. After that victory on April 3rd, 2015, now we have the new leadership in the union, which is the one every driver wants to see. because that's the team who fights hard to give them insurance, to give them high pay. You know, but retirement with dignity, that's something we don't have. And now we have like 30 years of work. You got 800 per year. That's a good money. We didn't have that. That's something good. But to establish that, not only you see it in the book or in your wallet, probably you're going home with that, but we fought hard to get this. Yes, we don't get it like this. I remember this guy because I'm in all negotiation. I never miss one. Meaning, I've seen a lot of things happen. That means I've seen negotiation days, I've seen night, I've seen overnight. Yeah, sometimes you have to stay overnight to negotiate. Probably you home, sleeping, but your money is counted. Who counted for you? People who care. That's the way it is. People who care for you, who understand after certain years of work, you need to have retirement. You need to stay home to have health insurance while you're home. That's why you're gonna need it most. When you get old, you retire, you're home. That's why you're gonna need this. But because of the hard work of this leadership, we got that in our contract. That's a good thing. But I believe where we keep continue in our way because we really show this guy. When I'm talking to him, you always say, Tutu, that's gonna be a good victory when that comes. You always say that to me, but sometimes I say, how are we gonna do this? You see, sometimes even if you are in the fight, you take some time backwards. So, not right. I said, how come that's gonna happen? But we still fighting. We're not discouraged. We still continue the fight. But when we come now to the big victory, but I have to say this, like both of my sisters already said that, the victory did not come like a gift. You wake up the next day, you see in your mailbox. Not like this. It's with all the solidarity we receive from our world and inside, from pastors, churches, community leaders. That's where we got the win. That's where we're gonna bring the win home. But one thing I would like to say, I would like to see the historic victory of the 8751 to be replicated through all the states, cities, towns, everywhere. Yeah, I want to see it. I think if that happened, that would be a good thing for the working class. That would be a good thing for the working class. I'm going to leave you here because I know Steve is going to give you more instead of what's going on. But I'm pretty sure I wasn't there when that happened, when Haiti become independent. First black nation. I don't know what they feel at that time. People all over the world who were enslaved. Probably they're saying something. Wow, what happened over there? We need to do this here to make it happen here. That's the same thing I'm taking today for the working class. What happened in Boston can happen here in Seattle, can happen
Yes.
in San Francisco.
Yes.
You know, that's why I'm expect to happen one day. Because we're fighting for a reason, not we're fighting to lose, we're fighting to win.
Brothers and sisters, I'm walking down here because it's a sister that was working with me and organizing. There's quite a few people that were involved, but this sister has been working to help organize this event. And right now she's hopping around with projects. So, but I want to take this opportunity to give her the honor to introduce us to the next speaker. Mr. Susan.
I can come to this chair, actually, and I'll borrow your cheat sheets too. Well, I can't see Steve now, but well, yeah, just we've heard Georgia and Nora and Tutu so far, talk about this really inspiring victory, and also, talking about what they're up against with Veolia that has, trying to make them slaves again, but they've been in this business of slavery since Napoleon III. This is what they're about. And yeah, just when I first heard about what happened, I first heard it was a wildcat strike actually, and then I found myself a month later. I said this already, visiting my sister and nephew, and I got this call to come to this rally. And my sister just dropped me off with my nephew sleeping next to me, and I just got out and I just went over. I think it was Steve Gillis who I first met. And I just said, hi, my name is Susan Popelman, and I work with Stop Veolia Seattle, and I'm here to support. And quickly they said you have to meet Steve. And I was very happy that I just happened to be there. And I should say also, it was in the Veolia headquarters where we were. It was down the street from where my father was born and from where my grandmother was born. And actually, I come from an anti-union capitalist family. But it was really an honor to, so close to home and understanding, what we're up against and understanding why this is so important, to be able to begin to make these connections. We stayed in touch. I, supported Steve I wrote something to submit to the judge for his felony frame of charge. I've been writing about their struggle and writing other things. And then, last December when I was home with my two oldest sons, I had the honor of being at their victory holiday party right after, they had this victory after 2 years. Yes, I don't think we actually really stated after 2 years of being out, the 4 fired leaders were reinstated with some, financial restitution and full seniority, and are doing the work. I'll jump to what you have in your program here. Steve Kirschbaum is a 42-year veteran driver, founding organizer and vice president of USW 8751. He's one of the 4 union leaders who were illegally fired by Veolia in November 2013. All others were voted into leadership again in April 2015, despite Veolia Transdev attempts to divide the union. In March 2015, Stephen successfully defeated Veolia's anti-union felony frame-up charges against him. It's an honor joining me in welcoming Stephen Kirschbaum.
Because when she showed up at our protest, Solidarity Day 1, right after we got fired, November 2015. And we've always worked very closely with the Palestine movement. We have as a union really for 40 years. But Veolia was a special relationship desegregate students when they run segregated transportation in occupied Palestine. They run waste in Palestine where they pick up the refuse, waste from these illegal settler sections of the occupation. These settlements, and they go and dump it on Palestinian farmland. One of the most cruel and toxic relationships. And so we had a lot of our signs that said, "Stop Veolia's oppression and exploitation," from Boston to Palestine. And it wasn't just a great rhetorical slogan. It was organic. It was powerful. So when we met Susan, we said, "Well, it's great work, but we didn't even know each other. Could you come on up and speak off the back of the truck?" And she took down the house. And that's how we met. And she was able to bring that solidarity of those that understood an injury to one is an injury to all. And I would be remiss if I didn't say, it's true, the first thing these capitalist scumbags want to do to you if you're a union leader, and I've been doing this since my 43rd year comes September, is they want to starve you out. They want to make you suffer so that you'll leave the job and leave the struggle. So all of us working folks, that's who we are, man. I don't think I got any captains in the audience here. You know what it's like for 2 weeks without a paycheck? 28 months? People with families. And so the only way we could sustain ourselves is with some financial solidarity as well. And it's not just the money. You see, when it comes into the $10 and $20, this, that, coming along. And it tells us that there was some young revolutionary-minded folks out of the Workers' World branch out of North Carolina that set up this GoFundMe thing. You know, we have a lot of experience in the street struggle, but frankly, we wouldn't have known GoFundMe if we tripped over it. Now, they set this thing up, and people from all over the country were able to contribute in. They raised $102,000. That's not touching. For families, and this is what we got from people all over. Very, very wonderful, generous contributions out of Seattle. Wonderful folks, so make our name. But this is just a piece of the story. So I want to add a little bit about why we feel it's so important to share our victories and make them the collective property of our movement. You see, there's 35 people out here. And nobody should feel down because you speak for the 35 million. And one day this hall is going to be packed to the rafters. So you never know about a movement and the movement of consciousness. We left out of Boston. Wednesday before we left, Black Lives Matter movement, in 2 days' notice, called for a demonstration. 4,000 people flooded the streets of Boston, went through the Dudley MBTA station, and shut it down. That's it. And those demonstrations are speaking the consciousness. And we got off of our plane. You know, good comrades, Clarence Thomas from ILWU Local 10. And this is a very historic unit. He picked us up. We were there. Proud, I thank Gabe, my brother here, for me, Philip Randolph. But we are both leaders of the Clarence Thomas Fan Club. Now, 11 ILWU Local 10. Who are they? That's the local of Harry Bridges. You see, we gotta understand, these dirty capitalist dogs, they don't just rule by the gun, they don't just rule by the dollar, they rule by the idea. We don't learn about unions in our schools, do we? We don't learn about it through the mass media. You know, the papers, the radio, the TV, they talk volumes of trash about us while they were kicking our behind. And when we won and tore Veolia Trans Dev apart, do you think there was one word in any of the press? Oh, hell no. We have to have a people's communication. We have to have a people's media. Fortunately, our young people have shown us how to use this social media. So I'm going to talk a bit about this victory, but I'm only talking here because of great revolutionary-minded organizers. This happened because of Susan. Susan Koppelman said, we got to get you guys out. The West Coast needs to hear this story. And it's not an East Coast story. It's like my brother just said, it's a global story. Now there's pamphlets in the back, and it's an advanced pamphlet of a book that's going to come out. That was written in the heat of the battle. All these articles, I don't give you all the blow-by-blow, I'm not going to do that with this, because this struggle really isn't about a 3-year struggle. It's really a 43-year struggle. We couldn't encapsulate all of that. But those lessons are critical for us all to learn. There's a wonderful article included in that pamphlet by Susan about this linkage between Veolia. You know, who is this corporation? When they came in 2013, we wouldn't have known them from a can of paint. They are taking over everywhere. And what they do, their dirty capitalist deeds are every imaginable atrocity you can imagine. We all know about what's happening in Flint. Here's some wonderful things in a little while. Poisoning a whole community, a generation, with the most toxic and unscrupulous conduct by municipalities and corporations. Who do you think the consultant was for Flint? Veolia. Now, because of Susan, we involved ourselves in a global network. New to us, it was called a webinar. Weird webinar until Susan. But it would put people in communications from several continents, several cities throughout the country, all in real time with each other to talk about uniting to make that fight happen. So for us, some of the lessons that we want to talk about are important because what it is, it's bringing back what we like to call old school unionism. And I'll give you another name for that. It is political, militant unionism that understands a union isn't just fighting a grievance, which if you're a red in the union, if you're a progressive in the union, if you're a communist in the union and you believe this in your heart, yeah, you're going to fight those grievances the hardest of what you can do. You're going to fight for those contracts the hardest of what you can do because you know the unions are the workers' first line of defense. But the reality is, after you work the job, you go home to the slumlord. If you're in the black community getting killed by these killer cops, if you're a disabled person, you're watching austerity cut back on all the benefits that you have to fight for. So there is no such thing as any issue that affects our class that isn't a union issue. And our union movement got to understand we got to bring back what is, when they say an injury to one is an injury to all, that's not a motto, that's a lifestyle. And when you see people fighting the fight, you don't need an embossed invitation to get out there and get in the battle with them. So when we spoke, just losing track of the days, when we spoke on Thursday night at Local 10, in that hallowed ground of ILWU, Local 10, Harry Bridges, if you don't know him, Google him. If you never heard Pete Singer sing the Ballad of Harry Bridges, know it. Because in San Francisco in 1934, there was a general strike that shut the entire city down. And that's what the ILWU did. See, I know Brother Clarence because when it comes to standing up for Palestine, they shut down the entire port of Oakland. Now, you can't appeal to these capitalists' heart. They ain't got no heart. That vegetables connected right to the wallet. If you want to get their attention, then you do what the young people say. If we don't get it, shut it down. Now, working class people, workers, can do that. And it's not stop the police, if you stop the buses, if you stop transportation, then the reality that we don't see. See, we think that the Trumps and the Clintons and the corporations and the media, their media, not our media, their government, not our government, is all powerful. But it's really an illusion. And I'm not crazy when I say that. We are the numbers. They're the money, but we are the power. Once we become conscious, then we got the power. And so I was proud to speak at a union hall that shut down the ports for Umia Uchamal, shut down the ports for immigrant rights, shut down the ports in those years of the nasty apartheid regime in South Africa. That local has a proud history. They never unloaded ships from apartheid South Africa. Now that's power. And this is what we need. So in terms of our struggle, I want to say a few things. You know, in 2016, no union, no matter how militant you are, can go it alone. You can't. And we knew, as my sisters and brothers have said, we had to keep our members together. We got a rank and file of about 1,000 folks. And it's a very diverse rank and file. Very diverse. And it's united all these different communities together in our rank and file. But that's not enough. I'm not going to go into detail about the problems that we in the union movement face, and I'll share a little, that our international unions, our trade union leadership, well, some of us would say this leadership, has fallen out of touch with the needs of the rank and file and the needs of how to fight, because it's not about giving money to so-called friends of labor. We know from our ABC fundamentals of our history, the friends of labor is the sister working beside you and the brother working beside you on the other side. That's the friends of labor that we rely on. We don't rely on courts. We don't rely on the NLRB. Tutu has said we had put in about for an arbitration for the four of us. But we knew damn right well if we let it be up to some judge, some arbitrator, I wouldn't be speaking to you right now as the vice president of the union with my back pay, with my seniority, and being able to fight. See, because it wasn't an arbitrator that brought me back. It was the struggle that brought me back. So I want to say this, and my sister spoke so eloquently about all the community support we got. Now there's a reason for that. We are known as a political union. When they fired us, you know, newspapers in Boston and the TV and radio said, there are a bunch of communists in there. You know, when Brother Jim from here in Seattle used the word road about some capitalist who just killed himself by driving into something. And this guy, I guess he took the signs out of town or whatever. He's a big capitalist dog out here. It says, gee, it's funny you should use road. You know, except for when they took us out. We were the radical road element. That's what they kept saying. And they published that we support Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela, that we support Cuba, that we, my Facebook has a General Jack from Vietnam. And in some Workers' World Conference in 2008, I said, beware of the encroachment of Homeland Security into your unions by GPS and cameras and all this surveillance that we're all suffering from right now. Brother Clarence says a whole lot of the labor movement is suffering from that surveillance. Now, when they said all those things about us as being a political union, well, that one is guilty as charged. That is who we are. And we've been that way throughout our history. Now, that's what enabled us to get solidarity, because we built it in the struggle in the streets. People know it's picket line, not logic. You know who's with you and who's not. And you know, you love to see a resolution where somebody gives you a piece of paper that says they support you. You love it when they get up there in front of the radio or TV and say, we support you. Very good, and I'm not denigrating that one iota. But the fact of the matter is, real solidarity is in the struggle and in the street. The guy named Fitzgerald, who was the president of IBEW 2222, one of the unions up in Boston that just participated in winning the historic victory of the Verizon strike, and I'm sure you all read about, I'm sure you all participated in. We were there the first with the Moses and our brothers and sisters. In fact, just to give a background to the story, we're so close with them because in 1989, when they had a 17-week strike, we're all pretty young back then, the first 3 people arrested in Boston were 3 members of Local 8751. And that's how we met their leader. Bailed us out of jail and said, I don't know who you guys are, but I will from now on. That's how you build solidarity. 1991, that was number 11 of our 11 strikes through our history. By the way, when we threaten that we're going to go on strike, if you have kicked their butt 11 times before, it's no threat when you say we're going to shut you down. Because we did it before, we'll do it again. 1991, we went on strike, and all of a sudden, all 4 bus yards and their corporate office didn't have phone service. Now, isn't that a mystery? Not much of one, but it tells you this. If you're a worker, you know how to shut stuff down. You know how to work the room. You know how to make it because you are the people who make society run. You're also the people that can shut it down. So for us, we have always supported what would be considered, other causes the labor movement perhaps isn't yet engaged in, and they need to be engaged in. We should be having all kinds of union contingent at every Black Lives Matter demonstration throughout this country. There's a growing revolutionary movement of young people. You can't pick up social media or any of the press without seeing these racist cops murdering people in the streets and doing it with impunity. And this movement is developing at such a rapid pace of understanding their chance even saying, indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. It's a new day. For 42 years, I can tell you. Even the brother Bernie signed it, right? And we give the brother his credit for this historic movement that was out there talking about socialism. Now, we have a little difference with brother Bernie on what real socialism is, because a real socialist doesn't get up there and stalk for Hillary Clinton, but I'm going to leave that be for a moment. What it means is there are thousands and thousands and thousands, really, so stadiums are filled up of young people and new people, maybe not so young, that were thinking about socialism. Wasn't a dirty word. They were thinking about hating Wall Street. They were thinking about a new day. Now, November's going to come and go. And I hate to be the one to break it to you, but the day after the election, it'll still be capitalism. Your landlord will still fleece you. The government will still do all those nasty things. And Brother Clarence told me, all this business about the horror for the Black community when this fascist scumbag, Trump, if he should get in, would happen. That's happening right now. They're doing this right now. And it's important for a union movement that understands an injury to one is an injury to all. In droves, we should be out there with the community. Now, we were proud that as soon as we got picked up, we went to a group of young people from Black Lives Matter in Oakland who chained themselves with bicycle rocks, chains, and all this to the doors of a so-called police union building. And they were catching some staff. And someone would get around, and we would count it. And we're at the university where right now we're going to be putting out some literature about it because we told them we're crystal clear. Police are no damn union. That's an insult to unions. That's right. They're no damn union. Unions for against the bosses. They all been doing this for 45 years. I've seen cops come down to every picket line. Damn sure never arrested the boss one time. They come down to kick our butt. And when I was framed up by the Boston police, I was framed up by the Boston police. That's a union leader that they did that to. So for us, we say like the old expression, we sometimes talk like this old expressions, you can't make a silver purse out of a sow's ear. These cops are part of the militarized state. They are not in the union movement. In fact, they should be driven out of the union movement. Now, I'm speaking anything that comes from you, I'm still speaking truth. And every worker knows that, particularly. The black workers know that, the brown workers know that. Just see the thing the other day. The brother's on his back trying to help a disabled person who's playing with a toy truck. And these racist, no good, murderous cops shot this brother while he's saying, I'm a behavioral therapist. You see that? And what amazes me now, and it tells you about social media. You know, a lot of the movement is talking about, let's get them with body cams, dash cams, all good suggestions. What they don't get is everybody got these cell phones. They got these cameras. And when our good union teacher brother, Philando Castillo, was killed by a cop in the most disgusting, murderous, racist way, you saw it, right? His girlfriend took it out the phone and Facebook Live. That scumbag, somebody tried to take it down. Got put back up, so it was technical difficulty. Difficulty is they didn't want to see what the hell was going on. But if you watch it, it's tragic. That was a hard thing to watch. You watch your brother die on video. And still they're saying they need to investigate what's going on. They took the murderers of Freddie Gray Elmos, broke that dude in half, and put him off. They took the cops and they let him off the hook. So of course, this country is ablaze right now with people saying, no more, no more. And a good union movement knows you've got to go to where the struggle is, unite with the communities of color, unite with those that are in the street, and then you will get a movement. Now, we have done that for 4 years, so when we went out, my sisters are right. Frankly, when we were first framed up, our international union went into federal court. Figured it in. A couple of us said it was first communists. Oh, that has specific. Exactly. Now, we understood this. We also understood that when you are fighting against a company, you take the weapons out of the company's hand. So if you had collaborationists present in the local, take it out of their hand. Which is Tustoga we did by sweeping the entire e-board elections. We took that. Every union knows that when you fight a company these days, you don't just fight the company. You fight the government, don't you? 1977, 1984, 1987, I went to jail during strikes on what was called a court injunction. Most folks don't even know. Stuff like the Taft Department. You know, they got laws in this country that tell you, you go to work, you go to jail. And the best way to answer it, in my humble opinion, is how we answer it. We said, well, you can put us in jail, but you won't put us behind that wheel. So go on, tell one of us, tell all of us. Our entire negotiating committee went off to jail. And those that were families and were concerned, they wouldn't break the strike. They quit their job instead of breaking the strike. And in that strike in 1978, when we finally settled it, got our contract, won everything, we did what all good unions should do, is amnesty. We told the company, everybody on the clock, the day before the strike comes back. Whether you quit under duress, whether you were in jail, wherever you were. And that's what we did. And it told every rank and file, you can fight and you can win. Leave no worker or leader behind. Fight together to make sure it happens. Now, for us, I want to say this, because when we were running the election, you know, the company had some collaborators within. They put out some leaflets, and they put out a leaflet of some right-wing sign that's a blog. It said, me and Brother Gillis, you know, we were agents for the BDS movement. And we were calling for the euthanization of Israel. And look at this demonstration. They're out on the street in Boston at the scene of the marathon bombing. Now, it was all bold, and it was a demonstration at the scene of the marathon bombing. The marathon bombing happened in downtown Boston. They did a demonstration. They're marching down downtown Boston. You could say we were demonstrating at the scene of Neiman Marcus, for Christ's sake. It's downtown. So, they tried this. But our workers understood who fights for them. Now, we are proud of the fact that our workers do resolutions and go to demonstrations for Black Lives Matter. We supply the soundtracks. We give financial solidarity because that's what unions do. We're trying to give unions a good name now. So people don't have to think you can't get the union movement involved in the people's movement. You know, we have to understand in the labor movement, we have this trade union bureaucracy. And until we can change all those positions, we got to get done today. You know, anybody with a keyboard can talk about these chunks don't do what needs to be done. That's not the issue. How do you free up the resources of the rank and file to make them do? And as my sisters and brothers said, we outlasted them. The labor movement says one day longer, one day stronger. Yeah, we kept telling Tutu and everybody else, we're going to win. You know why? Because we're not giving up till we do. And so we kept up with the struggle. We defeated the court case. We took over the local, and if you were the mayor of Boston, if you were this scumbag corporation, then they know you got nobody to talk to but that radical rogue element, because we are every single leader in this union. And I gave a contract for that, and we told them better than that. If you don't give us a contract we want, if you don't bring back all the leaders, we will shut this city down. Not a bus will roll in the city of Boston. That's what we had to tell them. And they're in cities. 2 months before we finished it, they offered to bring the floor back. This is how they try and divide you. So we'll bring you guys back. You got to agree to give up the 790 past grievances that this collaborationist fools had created for our union. Let Veolia get out of the way we were. Oh, and by the way, you got to give up on retroactive pay. And I said, we're not going to put so much into that pension. But if you do that, we'll bring the 4 years back. We'll bring it back right away. And we had to tell them, you insult us, you will get nowhere. We didn't get fired because we ran into something. We didn't get fired because we come in drunk. We didn't get fired because we're not doing the job. We get fired because we spent our lives building this union, and it's for the rank and file, and we're not even going to bring a proposal about bringing us back until we get the whole damn contract, all the backlog of grievances, and every single dollar retroactive pay. And on December 18th, it was after a 25-hour marathon negotiating session, which happened directly, even though we're a private company working for cities. And this is why the movement fights against privatization, because they're all the same. They're all capitalist dogs. Some are wearing a private hat, some are wearing a public hat, but they all wear the capitalist hat. And so we went through this marathon session. The mayor was involved, everybody was involved. And so we said we're not bringing anything forward until we see what we want to see across the table. And now you got the deadline because we are going to shut you down. So what happened? Veolia, Alex Roman, Thomas P. Hawk, by the way, last night we spoke, were hosted by the BART Workers Union. Chris Finn, we got to thank the president over there for opening up his hall to us. And you all probably know better than I because you're West Coast. You know, 2 Octobers ago, when BART was on strike, these awful corporate-minded, so-called public utility, there was a strike, they killed 2 people. Had a train operator boss, didn't know what the hell he was doing, and they killed 2 people. Do you know who the chief negotiator for BART was on the company side? Know the name because it's all over. Thomas P. Hawk. Thomas P. Hawk is Veolia. So you see the connections. And that told us, when we spoke to the sisters and brothers just last night, they didn't all together. It was clear. They gave us a nice little hat. They did who is Thomas P. Hawk? What the hell's he doing in Oakland? What the hell's he doing in Boston? What the hell is he doing even on the planet? And what he's doing is part of an anti-union think tank. He's the president of it. And the vice president of a guy named Alex Roman. My sisters and brothers know who that is, because that's our boss. So they are thick like thieves. so we have to be able to have an understanding that in order to build a movement, we have to expose all these relationships. And so when we were in that 25-hour session, we had black community leaders that were part of our negotiations. Now, that doesn't even happen. Some of the unions are part there, but none of them are on your railroad. We said, no, that's a community. We said, these are respected leadership of Boston's black community, and you'll respect them. We wanted to put in new language in our non-discrimination. We're proud of the fact that in 1977, we had language protecting the LGBTQ community for what's called now domestic partner rights before it had a label. And the language is not correct, but we knew we fought to make sure every worker, no matter what their identity, sexual preference was, we said, should get all the same health insurance, all the same life insurance, and if you're with a partner, and we said at that point in a marital-like relationship, even our international, and pretty backward guy, he didn't exactly get it, but sort of, because he said to all of us, was that really the company? Can't tell you who it's with? You know, he was talking about people shacking up, and we said, oh, okay, yeah, sort of, that's what it is. And we were able to get that language, participate in every LGBTQ pride demonstration. 1 year on the Stonewall, the word river flowed that we did. So in this particular contract, we wanted to get updated to the most appropriate, respectful language for the trans community. And it was very important for us to be done right. So we had the national leadership of the trans movement write it for us. And we came to the table, and the company did all their little, disgusting, ugly little snippet, like this, like this. We said, well, what it is what you're going to sign. That's what it is. And there'll be no discrimination against trans people, because you're not going to do an HB2 like they got in North Carolina, and understand if you allow discrimination in the door, it's not going to be just about who you go to the bathroom with, it's going to be every aspect of your life. You open up the door to the Trumps of this world. You open up the door to the Koch brothers and all those others. So we're proud of the fact that after Orlando happened, we passed a resolution and sent money down to Florida. We called it the way we saw it. That mass shooting was a homophobic, racist murder. And don't you dare to whip up Islamophobia in its wake, because the shooter was baked in an American oven and as American as that little goddamn racist cop. Yes. Anybody think it was an accident that he went in on Latino night? We worked closely with the Puerto Rican community up in Boston, and they wept. They felt it, and unfortunately, even a lot of the mass media, it took them a while for them to understand. The majority of the people who were murdered, they were Puerto Ricans. That didn't take a while to figure that out. Like, that's really shooting. But we were proud that we passed that resolution. We're proud we passed resolutions over the years for our brother Mumia Abu-Jamal, because we are with that brother. Brother's about my age, from Philadelphia, like I am. And that brother is the voice of the voiceless. That brother was the president of the Black Radio Broadcasters. That brother denounced and exposed the racist moon bombings that Wilson Good did against an entire neighborhood in Philadelphia. And we were able to get him off of death row. We were able to stop the executions. He's still locked up. Follow his commentaries on prison radio, and I hope that you do. A brother behind bars who understands more about what's going on the outside than 80% of a lot of the people I've run into. We're proud to have stood. We're standing right now with Reverend Pinckney. I know we got somebody going to come on from Detroit, Michigan. That's Reverend Pinckney. He's in jail right now. For what? For standing up against racism, for representing the Black community, and we stand with Reverend Pinckney until he gets free. So for us, and I'm going to wind up mostly because I think it's very important. Some in our movement used to say, well, be careful now. Take these unpopular positions. You got to be careful with your politics. Well, you know what? This is not the McCarthy night witch hunt. This is a time. My Financial Secretary Steve Gillis likes to put a bumper sticker on the outside of our office that says, it has now become vogue to think that hanging a banker is a good thing. And that tells us that people understand. They're talking about the evils of capitalism, and they're talking about it like that. So those of us that are progressive minded, those of us that are revolutionary minded, we are not just in this union game to be able to protect the 1,000 people that we represent. We want to bring the labor movement into the people's movement. Because the best union in the world and the best strike in the world, what do? You're negotiating the level of your exploitation. You're not stopping exploitation. Every strike that you win, like what we win in our battles, you kind of lose a little because you go back in and your labor is expropriated. The only way we're really going to win this victory is when the people who work in this country rule in this country. When the people, just like Eugene Debs said, just like all those leaders said, when those who work control society, when the parasites are gone, when the capitalists are gone, we have to have a vision of where we're going to. I'm not saying, brothers and sisters, we're looking at that in the next 4 months or the next 4 years. Nobody's got a crystal ball. But you know what? If you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there. And you're not doing it. So what we say in this movement is understand who your friends and enemies are. Understand the government. Understand building solidarity. One of the reasons we're strong in Boston's black community is 3 years ago, around the time of Martin Luther King holiday, post office was being closed all over the country. 3,400 of them, including Boston's oldest post office in the black community. Not only servicing folks to be able to use the post office, for a lot of folks, that's how they pay their bills, that's how they get their welfare checks, that's how they get their meds. Post offices in oppressed communities do a hell of a whole lot. So we built a coalition that was unheard of in Boston, maybe in other places. One of the most proud coalitions we've been a part of. It was the Nation of Islam. It was white labor leaders. It was the black radio stations. It was the black churches. It was community organizations because it was concrete. All postal workers didn't want to lose their job. The community didn't want to lose their post office. What better way? And it was the first time in Boston now, back, local 87 folks, 751 South truck. Hundreds were out there, and on the back of the truck was Minister Don Muhammad, and Steve told the president of Massachusetts AFL-CIO, I don't think we had met until that day. And the big part of this story is not just as we got out there and did all our rally like we like to do, but if you go to Road Hall today, Road Hall Post Office remains open. We won that victory. And so when this union went out and said we need help, black radio and TV stations said that's the union that saved our post office. That's the union that brought together, and I tell you, we got pictures on our Facebook. That in my heart, sometimes a picture speaks 1,000 words. And when the women's auxiliary from the Nation of Islam all came out, and there was a whole gang of them, and then there was all these labor leaders, primarily white labor leaders. There was the Verizon workers, the whole executive, there was a whole gang of us because we mobilized most of the people. And you saw that unity, not like a slogan, but you felt it and you saw it. It told us, yes, you can do it. And that's what we need all of us to do. And as I said we spoke yesterday, day before, to the Labor Studies Department of UC Berkeley. Young people, all with me turned out with actually, I think Osborne's favorite one, I should say, because these are all young people. And they asked great questions. We said, Wildcat Strike, said, what's Wildcat Strike? So we had to explain about a Wildcat Strike being a strike that's not authorized by either government or your union, or a contract that says you will not strike or do any lockouts. So a Wildcat is you are not doing what any of the enemy authorizes, but you're exactly doing what the workers authorize. So in our 11 strikes, 4 of them damn sure was wildcat strikes, because we wanted to live the heritage of Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks, it was against the law to not go to the back of the bus, but Rosa Parks said, not going back to the bus. And frankly, all the black women that came before her, that was saved. And you and me understand history. You know the most successful boycott in this country? It wasn't the Farrah boycott that the youth movement done. It wasn't even the Coca-Cola movement that the youth movement's done. It wasn't any of these other youth movements. It was the black community's Montgomery bus boycott. That was the longest, strongest boycott. You should learn on us. No, we are there, the progressive, the revolutionary review. For decades, it used to hurt me. May Day would come. May Day would come. And people in this country think, oh, isn't that some communist holiday that comes out of Havana? Or the Soviet Union? Oh, yeah, it came out of that Soviet Republic of Chicago. May Day was the Haymarket Massacre in Chicago, U.S. goddamn A. And the labor movement needed to take it back. And it wasn't until the immigrant rights movement shut down the country, 2005 or 6, I don't remember right off the top of my head. But they shut down the country. You know, I watched it. They shut down the LA airport. They shut down everywhere. It was called A Day Without Immigrants. It told us something. The working class is not what the stereotypes and the mythology said. Brother Clarence took us to go see the Rosie Riveter National History Site. And if you're ever over there in Richmond, right outside of Oakland, please go there. Because then you saw the real Rosies were African American women. The real Rosies were disabled folks who finally got jobs. They showed all the pictures of them. We were so honored. There was a woman named May, 95 years old. She makes some national news when somebody stole her presidential medal that she got. She's the oldest national artist right here in the country, 95. A black woman out of Louisiana who lived the experience. She said, I see all this other stuff without Rosie. That's not the Rosies that were next to me. And it was a struggle against racism. And you know what she said? She said, don't romanticize that time. Understand it, and understand what the economy has done, but understand it was a struggle against racism too. And she said, that struggle is not over. Said Michael Brown, tomato rice, oh, stirring. See, the struggle is still today. So I go on to the book, I'm going to end because I know we're going to get some questions and comments about this. But it's very critical for us as a movement to understand that we need to build solidarity, and it's not a slogan. You gotta be there for people. If you're on the picket line with them, they'll never forget it. We're never going to forget Fred Susan Kaufman. And we would not be on this coast if it wasn't for a revolutionary over here who arranged all this. We ended up doing all these cities. So let us reclaim our history. Let us fight on in the spirit of carrying grudges, in the spirit of those Teamster rebellions that happened in the 30s, the Orwellite sit-downs, the Flint sit-downs. And we, in our own humble way, in Local 8751, we are going to live that legacy for as long as we're breathing. And I'll end with what we do in every one of our meetings. Let me hear you say, Union! 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 Thank you, brothers and sisters.
I just want to apologize because I think I should have started early. I really think I should have because we was kind of on a deadline here to go to be out of here by 4 o'clock. We kind of reached that time. But I want to give people a chance to ask a couple questions real quick so we can move on. But I was warned. My brother Clarence Thomas, so I'm not looking at this, warned me that Steve is a dynamic speaker. He was going to keep us going, and he sure did. So that's why I say I should start on time, so we can get everything we needed to get. But Susan, we still got today?
This is amazing. I think we were also wanting to pass the hat after Steve spoke because we are still collecting costs for today. We still haven't quite paid all of their airfare and everything. We're getting real close. I don't know if someone's near one of pass the hat.
Hey, Lee, if you want to just take the honor to go around and see if we get people to donate, try to help in covering the expense and stuff that we have.
We definitely want to allow folks to ask questions, but we also are really hoping to bring in Monica Lewis-Patrick, who can speak about Veolia's role poisoning generations of people in Flint. And also, there's 91,000 people without water in Detroit right now. This is all connected to Veolia. Here, let me see if we can get Monica.
Did you say there's 91,000 people without water
In Detroit.
in Detroit?
For 3 years, they've been cutting off people's water for outstanding bills. Someone might have an outstanding water bill for $150, and it's getting cut off, but at the same time, the stadiums and the golf courses owed like $30,000, like so crazy amount of money. They never had their water threatened. So this is the third summer, a really hot summer, global warming, it's all real, and people are like, 2 out of 5 people are at risk of having their water cut off this summer as well. But mom can tell way more than I can. All right, Monica, can you hear us?
I can cut my devices up here so that nothing's interfering.
And I wonder, should we lower these lights in the front, maybe? Is that easy? Can everyone see Monica?
Controller, we got maintenance people. It's a union building, so everything's controlled by union people.
All right. So Monica, you've been following this, I guess, since YouTube?
I have, and it's been amazing. Just amazing. Are we ready to go?
We're ready.
All right.
Yeah, we're skipping the introduction, so you've heard, we're actually about to get kicked out of this building. So,
Yes.
Thank you for being here with us.
Yes, definitely. I just want to begin by just thanking everyone. It is so amazing and such an honor and a privilege to join you. Definitely have been following the struggle there in Boston. We stand in solidarity here in the city of Detroit. We understand definitely what this struggle is about. Our young people have been an instrumental part of connecting us to the movement in places like Cucamonga and parts of Palestine. We've definitely been working in solidarity in places like Ireland. We know what's happening in Malaysia and different parts of the globe. They have been using their art and their music and their rap and their poetry to bring about more linkages, everything from the Black Lives Matter movement, the rap justice movement. We definitely have been seeing for a long time and you mentioned some names of the people that just spoke. I thought it was so important. Several that he mentioned are very key to us here in Detroit, like persons like Reverend Pinckney and Big Harper. It's very instrumental in resisting what's been happening there with the seizing of land that's adjacent to water.
which is very key to this whole thing, is that the bankruptcy and emergency management, which is the use of law, prescribed law that has been voted down by the people of Michigan, 2.6 Michiganders said no to emergency management. This law was used in a way by the advisement of Alice and the Koch brothers and a large infusion of money. Veolia, that is headed up by the DeVos family, but the DeVos family is a very prominent family here in Michigan. They are very highly connected, not only to the leadership of Veolia, but they're connected to Amway. They have a lot of power and control over the privatization of public education, the major charter movement that's happening here in Michigan that's definitely feeding separate and unequal education, specifically for children of color, black and brown children. They are commodifying everything from transportation, water, to education. Veolia is a huge part of that, and has already been spoken to. They are a huge part of it, not only locally and at the state level, but globally. I come from Tennessee. It's been a major part of construction in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. The leakage of sewage, not properly addressing that. If you look at what happened in Flint, Flint actually offered Flint the ability to be able to take their water system and actually create cost savings to the tune of about $800 million. But because of Veolia and the predatory practice of privatization that they are practicing around the world, and they are so bad at what to do, but then they are so good at being able to continue to do it. And so, asking is definitely that labor would continue to just stand in solidarity, not only as workers, but as citizens, as taxpayers, as persons, that's really just holding this country together in terms of resistance. We got to continue to follow in the steps of people like the great General Gordon Baker here, who was a major part of UAW leadership and resistance. We've got to continue to connect with organizations like Black Lives Matter. We've got to make sure, like what's happening with the nurses union. We've been in direct collaboration with the National Nurses Union. Social media is so huge to our messaging because that's been one of the ways we've been able to uplift the fact that 91,000 households in Detroit are in direct jeopardy of not being able to maintain continuation of sanitation, hygiene, and access to clean and affordable water. Flint is also another issue that we know has been one of the worst disasters in modern times because you're looking at anywhere from 4 to 5 generations not being able to fully have use of their limbs, their brain processes. They're going to be battling everything from kidney failure to heart failure to challenges in terms of memory, cognitive ability, and they know this. They knew this going in. And so we've got to understand that there is some purging that's going on. These people are fully prepared to kill us. A lot of these tactics are genocidal tactics to be able to racket away pensions, to be able to take away health care, to be able to destroy the working class of this country is what their intentions are. And if we don't organize, and in the words, and I'll end with this, the Honorable Coleman Alexander Young here in the city of Detroit told us a long time ago, if you find this fight, get in it. And I'm telling everybody in this room and everybody that's listening, this fight for labor and workers' rights to be able to maintain the middle class is a fight we better all get in. Our children deserve it. Thank you so much.
So Monica, gave you a call. I don't know if you can see me now, but I'm the president of the other chapter. So I need to got the pen there. Get it, go, you sit down. Okay, I want you to look at me because in August, from the 23rd to the 28th, I'm going to be in Detroit. The 8th I'm going to be having a national conference in Detroit, and I would like to meet you. I would like to connect when I get there because I think it's important. I think the cost of fighting is important, and the story is important, and we all need to be connected to be part of that fight. thank you for what you're doing. We appreciate so, in saying so, we want to thank everybody that came today, everybody that took the time to be involved, everybody that took the time to organize, to put this event together. I think those that didn't take the opportunity to show up lost a lot. They lost a lot of information that they could have taken with them to move this movement, which is the labor movement. Labor movement can only be strong with the people that are part of it, and we all need to be part of it. So I thank you for the people that traveled so far to bring this information. We appreciate you. We're glad and happy to have you as part of this movement and the work you're doing. Keep it up, keep it up, keep it up.
Folks see it's after 4. We have to allow folks to close up, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know. But, we are continuing. There's going to be another event tomorrow night in Tacoma from 6 to 8:30 at ILWU Local 23. We're going to have a rally tomorrow. We didn't announce the rally. Tomorrow, from 1 to 3 at 2nd and Jackson. So outside King Street Center, it's outside the Access Paratransit offices. So there's going to be a rally. It's a rally putting pressure on Metro to stop passing share users, to improve the Access Paratransit service. Disabled and elderly folks are getting picked up an hour and a half to 2 hours after their pickup time and being trapped on buses for 4 to 6 hours before they can get to their destination. So this is dialysis patients being trapped on an Access van for 5 hours. It's really cruel and inhumane. The ATU Local 587 drivers are going to be there in solidarity with disabled transit riders. That's huge. We're calling out some ATU 587 drivers, but still we have ATU 587 drivers that are with us in solidarity because of course they're there with their union brothers, but they also see the grave injustice with the way the service is, the treatment that disabled riders are experiencing. The Boston folks, so you get more opportunity to see these guys in action on the streets. They're going to be with us in the rally with the Disabled Liberation Front, Disability Liberation Front, Stop Veolia Seattle, ATU 587, and with the Boston school bus drivers that are visiting us.
Can I have 2 minutes?
No, I'm sorry.
Minute, 3/4?
No, we don't have time for questions. Thank you.
It's not the Freedom Foundation?
No, thank you.
You know about the Freedom Foundation?
So thank you. Thank you. We just really don't have time.
Sorry about it. We'd like to share everything, but the thing is, this is not finished. It's going to be continuing tomorrow at local 23 in Tacoma, and I think people should have the opportunity to bring up what they need. I mean, we got an open mic right there that we try to use, but people
Some people want to take it.
we got to have to respect
I didn't have permission to say that, but yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't hold them up. I mean, I apologize to anybody that didn't get a chance to say something. But if you have information, working class and
program?
What?
A program? Do you have the program?
I don't know.
Do you have the program
No.
for the event? Oh, okay.